Hi everybody, I recently finished playing Yakuza Like a Dragon, and I want to talk about a few things that I thought were interesting, to say the least. Now, I really love the Yakuza. It's one of my favorite franchises of all time. I also very much enjoyed Yakuza Like a Dragon. I thought it was a very fun game. I thought the last couple of chapters were incredibly exciting. Anyway, it's a very good game, but it has a few misses. Now, keep in mind, I will be going into spoiler territory. I will be spoiling Yakuza Like a Dragon and also some bits from previous Yakuza games, most notably 3, 4, and maybe 5. Now, the Yakuza games have always been known for some strange plot points, plot twists, stuff like that. I mean, most Yakuza fans still joke about Yakuza 4 with the rubber bullets, which was kind of a disappointing plot twist in my opinion. There's also Kazuma's twin brother, who works for the CIA in Yakuza 3, which I thought was kind of goofy. Or how in Yakuza 2, by the end, literally everybody in Kamurocho was like, apparently in the Jingweon Mafia. Like everybody, hey, what's up? I'm from Jingweon. And then there's another guy, hey, I'm also from Jingweon, how funny. Like, everybody turned out to be Jingweon by the end. That's the big, like, conclusion that game has. Everybody is part of the Korean Mafia. But Yakuza Like a Dragon doesn't get as much shit as Yakuza 4. So I want to balance that out today a little bit. And I have to remind you, I love Yakuza Like a Dragon, at least the story of it. It took a while to get going for me, but by the end I loved it, you know, it was so exciting. There's a couple of things that I like a little bit less. The first of all, the betrayal of Tendo, which was one of the Omi lieutenants. And in one of the, like, in the big reveal that the Omi Alliance and the Tojo were gonna be disbanded, he kind of joins the side of Atase and Daigo and, you know, all the characters we know and love. But he joins them very suddenly, like, he just joins because he thinks it's a good fight. And then all the, like, the important characters think that Tendo is on their side. I think it's so stupid that they guessed his entire, like, motives just from one battle, that he joined to fight with them, like, one time. So when the reveal came that he was still, like, loyal to the Omi and Aoki, I just thought, yeah, that's kind of what I expected, you know? I already think he's kind of a forgettable character, but this plot twist is just so lame. Like, who didn't expect Tendo to betray us? He literally joined us for one fight because he thinks it's the fight of a lifetime. And then we never hear from him again. And then Arakawa, like, suddenly trusts him. Like, they have this kind of personal conversation, like what he's gonna do now that, like, the Tojo and Omi is disbanded, Tendo. And, you know, he's not on your side. I don't know why everybody thinks they're, like, best friends with Tendo, even though he did one thing. So that's the first plot point, which I thought was kind of lame. The second one is a bit more interesting, in my opinion. That is the character of Mirrorface. What the fuck is the character of Mirrorface? Mirrorface is this assassin who uses cosmetic surgery to change his entire appearance to the person he's supposed to be mimicking. He doesn't just stop at their appearance, he kind of also mimics their behavior and like, he pretty much just completely copies another person. If you think that's a reach, I agree. How? How on earth? Why is this a thing? I mean, Jungi Han, for example, did cosmetic surgery to look like the old Jingweon boss, you know, so as like, kind of like a body double. That's just inside of the realm of, like, believability still for me. But then they felt, believability? Nah, that's lame. We're gonna have a character who completely copies another person. And then just say, yeah, he has cosmetic surgery, and they don't even dare to explain how he copies all the other aspects of a person. He just, you know, yeah, cosmetic surgery, you know. But I think he's a really lame character. He's basically just this magical MacGuffin that the writers use because they probably wrote themselves into a corner at some point. He gets introduced, like, late into the game, like, very late. And then he's suddenly, like, a big deal, and he shows up in one of the, like, the final moments of the game. And come on, the reveal that, like, Tendo wasn't actually Tendo and it was just Mirrorface by the end. It wasn't actually Tendo who was finally seeing the light and betraying Aoki, and it was Mirrorface, was so lame. They led the players to believe that Tendo was gonna have some sort of redemption, and then they just pull the rug from under him. And, you know, it's Mirrorface, so, like, any character development we might have seen just doesn't exist anymore, and it's just Mirrorface. And I don't even get the point of this plot twist that it was Mirrorface. Like, I can't think of any reason why they couldn't have just had Tendo do the betrayal, because it doesn't make much sense this way. No need for Mirrorface to be involved in this. He's just suddenly there, you know, he's just in the scene, suddenly. And we're supposed to accept it. So I thought that was a little bit reaching, even for, like, the Yakuza standard. I mean, these games have already had plot twists which were just batshit insane. And this is just one of them. Again, quick reminder, I love Yakuza. Very good games. very good story generally, but there's usually in every Yakuza, there's just a few things which are just off. The next one being the coin locker babies, which I thought was kind of a dumb thing. So later on in the story, they revealed that both Masato and Ichiban were both coin locker babies. And there were two babies hidden in coin lockers at the exact same time, at the exact same place by different people. And then when Arakawa was looking for his child, he accidentally took the wrong one, even though there was another one. And that is such a stupid plot point. Two coin locker babies, which is not something that has ever happened, I think. At the same time, in the same place. Literally the exact same coin lockers has two different babies locked up at the exact time that have nothing to do with each other. And this guy accidentally took the wrong one because that one happened to be crying. And like the entire game is just spent thinking that Arakawa is Masato's father, when in reality it was Arakawa who was Ichiban's father, and the captain of the family, I think Sawashiro, something like that, was actually Masato's father. I think that review in itself was pretty cool, you know, that they kind of got switched up, but the way they did it is such a stupid way, with the two different coin lockers babies at the same time. I cannot wrap my head around it. It's such a stupid plot point. As I said, I thought the reveal of both having like the wrong parent was pretty cool. But the way they get there is so bad. So yeah, I was kind of upset with that one. So the last one is kind of... I think this one is more personal than the other ones. It's just something that I personally got upset about. I can understand if some people thought it was fine, you know. But that was the death of Aoki at the end of the game, when he was stabbed by Kume from Bleach Japan. I thought that was such a cop-out death. I thought that was so lame. The Yakuza games have done this so many times. Just when it's literally the exact same thing as Mine from Yakuza 3. It's the exact same situation. Just when a character starts to see the error of his ways and he starts to become... You start to feel sympathetic towards them. They die. They get killed off. It is so lame. As I said, this is more personal than the other ones, but I was kind of emotional in the scene before that, when Ichiban and Aoki had this big confrontation, you know, and like Ichiban was crying, and it was such a good scene, incredible scene, and then Aoki died, and I went from being emotional to just angry. I was genuinely angry at the game, that they did him this dirty. It kind of ruined the final scene for me, you know. It was almost comical, you know. It reminded me I'm playing a Yakuza game, and a Yakuza game isn't a Yakuza game if they didn't have some really lame deaths. And I was already starting to feel like glad that Yakuza Like a Dragon seemed to like steer away from this trope of having the character suddenly die off when they become good, because it hadn't happened so far in this game. So I was kind of hopeful that they learned from the past. And then he just dies. I think if anyone should have killed him, it would be Kume, because it kind of, you know, it helps his character. Because he claims to be, like, fighting for good and whatever, like, fighting the gray spots, but he's just as morally, like, questionable as all the other people. So if anyone should have killed him, I think it was a good choice to have Kume do it. But come on, having him die, like, just right before he becomes, like, he starts to realize the error of his ways, I think was really, really lame. And as I said, they did the exact same thing. Literally the exact same thing with Mine in Yakuza 3. And he throws himself off a building to stop the enemy just when, like, you start to get through to him. And it's such a good scene. And then he just dies. Which wasn't that bad in Yakuza 3. But the fact that they do it again is just kind of... It feels cheap to me. So anyway, this was kind of a very long rant on all the things that I got kind of upset about. And... just a last reminder, I think it's a very good game, Yakuza Like a Dragon. I think what I like about this game is that I can actually, like, remember characters' motivation and, like, the general idea of the story. Whereas, like, Yakuza 4 and 5, I barely remember anything except for, like, specific things. I think that overall it had a good story, you know. I can actually, like, remember what happened, which is not something I can say for Yakuza 4 and 5, which is with such clusterfucks of, like, things happening. That was kind of hard to follow. So anyway, it's a good game. I would recommend you play it if you like Yakuza. Even if you don't like Yakuza, it's a very enjoyable game. But yeah, that's my rant on things that I got personally upset about. So thanks for watching and goodbye.